Hey guys, it's Ross Scott, and on the Space Couch today we're joined by Captain Phasma because we're going to be reviewing this Phasma by Delilah S. Dawson, part of the Journey to the Force Awakens. Sorry, not the Force Awakens, The Last Jedi. And it's all about her backstory. It goes hand in hand with the comic, though it is set later. So basically it starts off with a Resistance spy, Vi Moradi, and it's this lady here, and she is captured by the First Order, specifically by a trooper called Captain Cardinal, and that is him here. He's the same rank as Phasma, and he's her rival. He's kidnapped her. It's all off the books, and knows that she's actually been captured, either the Resistance or the First Order, and he has her in an interrogation room, essentially in the dungeon of the Star Destroyer, and he's not interested in stuff about the Resistance. He wants to know about her, wants to know about her secrets, because he just knows she's keeping secrets, that's not good for the First Order. So basically, the book starts off chapters of the two of them, and then she tells a story about Phasma, and then it's back to them on the Star Destroyer, and then it's back to Phasma. But that's just at the beginning. For most of the book, it is just following Phasma's story in one big chunk. So basically, she lives on this hellhole planet called Parnassus. Very similar, I thought, to Cornelian 4 from the Obi-Wan and Anakin novel. Just devastated, whatever kind of planetary apocalypse there was in the past. The planet is now cut off from the galaxy, and everyone there is stuck there, living a Mad Max kind of lifestyle. So anyway, one day they see a ship crashing, and this planet is surrounded by an orbital defense field which shoots things down from time to time. So they go on an expedition to try and find it, because they think, technology, because they know there are other civilizations right across the galaxy, and they know that they're stuck on this world. So they're hoping maybe they can find a way off-world. So basically, Phasma and some of the warriors go to find this ship, and they come across Brendel Hux and some of his stormtroopers who are still alive. And they were in an escape pod. The actual ship has crashed somewhere else, and he wants them to help him go there, and basically says, the First Order will help you, bring you riches, take you into the stars, whatever, He says whatever he has to in the moment. So the tribe decides they don't want to help him. But Phasma and some of the warriors break away from that, and they do help him. They all set off. And they're just marching across this world. Where they live is on the cliff edges, on rock spires. Think Eadu. It felt like that kind of terrain. And that's obviously dangerous. And then they have to cross a desert that is particularly horrible. And there are beetles in that desert. If you spill any kind of moisture, or if you get caught or whatever, these beetles just swarm up out of the sand and devour you, and they're golden. And one bite from them gives you a very nasty disease where essentially over several days you swell up, your fingernails pop off, and eventually you explode. Like a bag of water. Literally a bag of water, that's all that's left of you because you've wasted away inside. So a very horrible way to die. But it's very interesting, all that sequence. And then they get captured by another band, taken to a city called Aratu, under the leadership of the Aratu, and the tribe is called the Aratu. But basically, it's a city where everyone is pretty much starving. And they've got very little food, but what they have got is machines left over from the company that tried to colonize the world that can turn sand into fabric. So it's very brightly coloured. There's fabrics everywhere. But there's also, of course, arena death matches. Guess who goes up against the Aratu's top warrior and wins? Yes, that's right, it's Phasma. And then as she wins, she then assassinates the Aratu, the leader of the city, and becomes the new Aratu. Yes, indeed. So everyone's kind of shell-shocked. But now they're no longer prisoners. They're now living in the tower of the Aratu. Obviously, that's not Phasma's plan. That's certainly not Brendel Hux's plan. So they leave there in the middle of the night, essentially, to continue their search for the ship. Now, at one point, they stumble across a facility full of droids that have just been there since the planet was abandoned by the owners. And they're all a bit strange, as you can imagine. So essentially, the droids Oh, you are now employees of the Constar Mining Corporation. Your minimum term of service is 60 days. That doesn't go too well either, but they needed food and medicines, so they did agree to that, although in the end Brendel Hux essentially switches off the droid's power, essentially killing that entire little civilization there. Very typical of the First Order. And they're on their way again. However, they're then chased by the Aratu. There's a big fight, it doesn't go well for the Aratu. And eventually they do get to the ship, just as Phasma's tribe, the remaining ones, have all come with their neighbouring tribe, who they fought their way through on the way out as well, to try and stop them. And of course they don't. They all get killed. She even kills her own brother. In fact, she pretty much is killing everyone who knows what her face looks like. Everyone who knows who she is and where she came from. This is one of the things that Vi Moradi was trying to find out, who Phasma is, of course. So, back on the finalizer, she tells him, there's one more thing I can tell you, and the story is, of course, those beetles and the effect that they had. Guess what happened to Brendel Hux about a year after they made it off of Parnassus? No surprises for guessing who it was who killed Brendel Hux. And also no surprises for guessing who ordered it. Armitage Hux. Yes, that's right. Cardinal, who didn't know that second part, goes to Hux and tells him, Phasma killed your father, you know? Of course she killed my father, who do you think ordered it? And everything. So basically he's now worried, is Cardinal, that basically he's screwed. Because Phasma and Hux are very, very close. And now that he's told Hux that he knows, Hux will obviously tell Phasma that she knows that he knows. And then Cardinal can expect to be one of the people who suddenly dies unexpectedly around Captain Phasma. Yes, it's very interesting. So he then goes back to, because he runs all of the training simulations for the new recruits, the kids, and then they get handed over to her to complete her training. So he goes to one of the training simulation rooms where she is, and it ends up with the two of them fighting, of course. He has one of those beetles, because Vi Moradi had one of them on her, tries to use it on her, doesn't work, she kills it, and she stabs him with a dagger, again from the homeworld, that was poisoned, because that was one of her favourite methods of killing people, stabbing with something poisoned. Now, prior to this, he had essentially had agreed to let Vi Moradi go, because he's having a crisis of conscience, and he's one of the most human, as it were, of the First Order. Very sympathetic character, actually, when you read the book. He's really, really good. He really believes in the First Order, you know, but his faith has been completely shaken. So anyway, Phasma deals with Cardinal, leaves him to die, and goes off. Next thing you know, Vi Moradi, in a stormtrooper outfit, is there to rescue him. And their story ends with the two of them escaping in a ship off of the Star Destroyer, essentially to the Resistance, where hopefully he'll agree to defect. But yes, it's very, very interesting. The real takeaway from it that's kind of stated in the book by Vi Moradi to Cardinal, and also in the Captain Phasma comic, is Phasma is not loyal to the First Order at all. She's loyal to no one and nothing. She will do whatever it takes to advance her interests at the moment. She killed her family on Parnassus. She killed everyone who knew who she was on Parnassus and afterwards. She tried to kill, including her commanding officer, and she tried to kill Cardinal as well. And basically they said she will turn on the First Order. If it is no longer the winning side, she will switch sides to whatever suits her best. I would not be at all surprised if in episode 8 or 9, in some manner, Phasma betrays the First Order. That's why she lowered the deflector shields on Starkiller Base. She didn't want to die. She didn't care about the First Order. And we've seen, obviously, in the Phasma teaser, that she's trying to plant that on someone else and blame them for it. She's very ruthless. She will not, or she does not, rather, really care about the First Order. We could see her defect, or cause, or say, she could even say allow Finn to escape from the Superstar Destroyer, if that's something that does actually happen, you know, when they come face to face. Who knows? Because she might be looking for an out of her own. you know, to move on to the next thing. I don't know, but yes, it is a terrific book. One of the best ones that is out. I would recommend it very thoroughly to you. It's great to see Captain Phasma getting the attention she deserves. She's got a great backstory. She is a badass, stone cold killer. She really is. But even so, you really appreciate. You're rooting for her. I mean, not like rooting for her, but it's like you really want to know how it ends. Will she really do those things? Will she go that far? Will she kill that person? And yes, of course, she will always kill that person because she's Captain Phasma. The book ends, the last chapter, with Phasma returning to Parnassus in a in a TIE fighter, and she goes to the wreckage of Brendel Hux's ship, and it's one of Palpatine's old cruisers, and it's chrome plated, so she hacks off a couple of the hull plates, goes to one of the droid factories on Parnassus that's still active, and converts it into her armour, and that is where she gets her armour from. And all this story was all told to Vi Moradi by the only person who survived her encounter with Brendel Hux and with Phasma, a member of her own tribe, and she's now the last member of her tribe. Yes, so very, very fascinating book. I absolutely loved it. I'm sure there's going to be some Phasma follow-ups and other novels in due course once episode 8 is out. So what do you think, guys? Have you read it? What did you think? It's great to see her getting all of that attention, because obviously in the film, 90 odd seconds and that's it. She deserves so much more, and now that she's getting it, it's absolutely fantastic. Please subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed this content. Leave me a comment suggestion for an upcoming topic you'd like to see discussed, or like the video.